Hello, and welcome to Your Jurisdiction May Vary. My name is Chris Douglas. I am a past master of Ocean View Lodge number 335 in Norfolk, Virginia. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the three pillars of a successful Blue Lodge: ritual, education, and fellowship. Our first pillar is ritual. What is it that makes Masonry unique from every other fraternal organization out there? It's our ritual. It's what distinguishes us. And a properly executed ritual can make or break the success of your Blue Lodge. Imagine that you're at work and you're attending some office meeting, and the head of your department or whoever is organizing the meeting is sloppy and ill-prepared. They forget where they are. They skip around to the agenda. They allow people to talk over each other. You'll lose confidence quickly in your manager if they can't run an effective meeting. Now consider a Blue Lodge. You can have a highly skilled, very well-organized worshipful master who understands the finer parts of Masonic law, who knows Robert's rules of order and when they apply, who is able to deftly arrange a meeting and ensure that things move along swiftly, and that everything conducted in the business portion of the meeting is informational and entertaining. However, if he opens up the lodge and can't remember his ritual and has to be prompted continuously and forgets which part of the ritual he's in and doesn't call on the other officers when he's supposed to, a poorly executed opening ritual, especially when it involves the worshipful master, can set the tone for the rest of the meeting. And despite his efficiency as a manager during the business portion, you will have a negative impression of the entire evening just based on the opening. Now, conversely, consider what happens if the worshipful master and the officers have worked together to prepare for the meeting. They have practiced their ritual. Each of them cues off of the others. Their parts are all delivered distinctly and with the proper amount of volume, and there is no pause or gap or stammering about. A successful opening ritual will help you to overlook, actually, even a less than stellar business portion of the meeting. You have set a high expectation among your audience, and they may overlook certain flaws during the regular meeting if the ritual was performed correctly. One of the easiest things to practice in Masonry is ritual. Even if it's not written down in your jurisdiction, it's taught by word of mouth here. We have a well-structured educational program when it comes to ritual. We have district instructors of work. We have lodge instructors of work. We have warden certificates that the station officers must complete. It's very well planned out and very easy to have a successful lodge school on a regular basis. So there's almost no excuse for a lodge not to be efficient in learning and performing their ritual. But it's also something that brings the members together. When the officers meet together to practice at school, to learn their parts, even the smallest part, by the most junior officer, when delivered efficiently and correctly, inspires that officer. It makes him feel like he's part of a larger team, and the group as a whole has accomplished something. That camaraderie will spill over into other areas of your lodge. What is Masonic education? Imagine you present a paper on the biography of a famous Mason, such as Benjamin Franklin. Or you present a paper on the history of your lodge in its early years. Or You analyze one of the elements of the Entered Apprentice's lecture and explore the symbolism and philosophy behind that emblem. All of these are examples of Masonic education. If indeed you choose one of the past masters or just members of your lodge who was outstanding in your community, a well-respected doctor or the superintendent of your school district, a man who lived a normal life, is not famous in the traditional sense, but was well-respected in your community and was a member of your lodge, then that too is Masonic education. Education can be about anything that involves Masonry. But in addition to that, if you have a presentation, say someone comes in and gives a talk about how to avoid identity theft or how to prepare for retirement, something which would be of interest to every member of your lodge, but isn't strictly Masonic in nature, that still is education. You are enlightening and informing the members of your lodge. The worshipful master has an obligation to ensure that every meeting of the lodge there is some type of Masonic education which is imparted to the members. In my lodge, we have a lodge historian whose job it is to present a Masonic minute, which is usually given during the dinner before the meeting when we have guests and women and non-Masonic people in attendance. We have a Masonic minute that everyone gets to enjoy. And usually it's something related to the origins of our city, what was going on in the city of Norfolk when Ocean View Lodge was founded, or something else of interest in the community. He's very good at finding topics that explore something in just a brief minute or two to impart something to all of those present. And I really applaud that idea. It's not necessary to have a formal, well-researched paper and presentation given at your stated meetings. Now and again, yes. There are also research lodges, which is most of what we do, is present seriously researched papers. And we often have lively discussions after on the merits of the talk. So if you're the worshipful master and you feel that you need to reach out and get a guest speaker from somewhere else outside your lodge, consider talking to the research lodges in your area or just asking around to the other worshipful masters where you might find someone to give a talk. It's usually a good idea if you vary your speakers and don't always rely on the same brothers in your lodge, but bring in someone from outside the lodge to give a talk. But Masonic education is all about inspiring the members to think, to consider the philosophy of Masonry. We could raise a man and send him home with all of these great books that are available to learn about Masonry, but there's something to be gained by sitting in lodge with your brothers and as a whole enjoying a presentation, enjoying a well thought out paper, which is meant to stimulate your thinking and make you look at Masonry and our symbols in a slightly different way. Finally, a word about fellowship. One of the most easily understood aspects of Masonry is the brotherhood, the quality time that we spend with other Masons. And although sitting in lodge in a tiled meeting has a certain solemnity and auspiciousness to it, and it can be a lot of fun. We inject a lot of levity into our meetings, but it is still a formal meeting, and everyone is eyeing as to how long it should go on. No one looks forward to a 3-hour stated meeting. What many lodges suffer from is they have too little planning put into what happens before and after the meeting. My mother lodge met at Granby Street in Norfolk, which is a beautiful building, which is well designed for Scottish Rite reunions and plays and weddings and large dinners welcoming the Grand Master on his official visit and other things. We have over 400 seats in our dining hall. We have a auditorium that seats 450 people. We can put on elaborate presentations, and we have several very ornate lodge rooms. But imagine a lodge of only about 20 members in attendance coming downstairs and serving cookies and soda and sitting at just one end of one table in a dining hall the size of a high school cafeteria. It's quite intimidating. And you don't sit for long before you get a feeling that you just want to get up and leave. It doesn't encourage you to want to linger and stay and enjoy the fellowship with your brethren. Here is what we did at my lodge, Ocean View, where we have our own temple, so we're the only lodge that meets there. So it's your normal-sized Masonic temple with the lodge room upstairs and the dining room downstairs. But as you can see, we've taken a corner of the dining hall, roughly 12 foot by 12 foot. We've added several easy chairs and couches and formed them in a bit of a semicircle, which encourages us to sit, to smoke cigars, and to talk, often for hours on end. Yes, this is the infamous Ocean View Lodge Man Cave. So, what have we gained from having this man cave, this unusual arrangement? We find that after every school, every regular meeting, every degree night, we can spend hours sitting there after lodge is done, just talking, discussing things back and forth, whether it's something of substance, like how long should we entertain a candidate who doesn't know anyone and we need to evaluate him for a time before we'll sign his petition and let him join the lodge, or something as trivial as whatever movies everybody's seen lately, or if someone having some sort of personal problem or issues with their car or whatever it is that's going on, whatever the topic of conversation turns out to be. It's, to me, one of the most rewarding and truly Masonic experiences I have is these late-hour discussions with my lodge brothers in the man cave, in the dining hall there at Ocean View, where we just sit, smoke cigars, and talk. It gives me more of a sense of what Masonry used to be when we met in taverns, when we met as more of a social club than anything else. Yes, we're there to make each other better. We're here to improve ourselves as Masons. And there is much we can learn from ritual and education to sharpen our minds and make us better. But without the fellowship, without the camaraderie, without just sitting with your brothers, spending time together as men, as Masons, you really are missing something if you don't have that regular fellowship. And it's paid off. We are constantly receiving affiliations from other lodges, and we are having new potential members dropping in, spending time during one of our school nights, just speaking with a few of the past masters, and then socializing with everyone after the meeting is over or the school session is over. And it impresses upon them. They say, well, look, this is something I want to do. This fellowship is what I am thinking Masonry should be. And they're right. So, in conclusion, there are many other elements to Masonry that I haven't really paid attention to, such as charity, such as providing for the welfare of our older members or the widows. And all of these other things are truly important. But without your pillars of ritual, education, and fellowship, if you do not shore up those pillars and make sure you are providing for those three elements, no other aspect of your lodge will be as successful. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and it gave you a little something to think about, how you can apply what I've covered here in your Blue Lodge. Please click the subscribe button below, and I will keep you informed on what's going on in my channel with my videos on masonry and other topics I'm interested in. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next time, and until then, remember, as always, your jurisdiction may vary.